Hello again, this is Mrs. Finley. I'm here again to talk to you about reading strategies. As you may remember, we have spoken about some of these already. This list should look very familiar. We have already managed our activating background knowledge. We've already talked about how to make personal connections. We've worked on asking questions while we read, and we've worked on drawing inferences and making predictions. Today we're going to skip over identifying main ideas and details, and we're going to worry about monitoring our understanding and communicating another time. And what we're going to focus on today is visualizing images and doing so while we read. In order to visualize images to help you read, you need to create pictures in your mind as you read. And many of you have learned about this already, but it's good to review just in case. Please note, you can also use your background knowledge and your connections that we've worked so hard on to help you imagine and visualize more than what is explicitly stated in the text. And look at that, I've got a little typo there again. It should be more than. Okay, so you can actually figure you know what they're talking about when you're reading something and use your background knowledge and your connections or your inferences to really visualize a fuller picture than what they're really describing. While you visualize, you want to make sure you use all 5 of your senses. You want to think about making sure that you think about what you see, what you hear, what you can smell, what you feel, and what you taste. Okay, those are all really important places to go when you're actually visualizing something. You want to pretend that you're there. The reason you want to do this is because it really does help to help you understand a text, and it makes it more memorable, which really in turn makes it so that it's something that you'll remember, that you'll have some connection to, you'll be able to recall, and you'll have a more full comprehension of the text. Okay? And, as I said, you should continue to ask questions, draw inferences, and make predictions while you visualize to make sure that you're doing all of the strategies that we've talked about in the past 2 videos while you work on the next one. So, let me give you a little demonstration for visualization, okay? What I did was I took a passage from Life of Pi. It's a book, fantastic book, and also a movie now. And I'm going to read the passage, and while I do so, I'm going to use my annotation to kind of remind myself of what I'm doing while I'm reading. And then I'm going to draw a picture down here based on what I was visualizing. So it says, he's a sweet man. That's kind of nice. Every time I visit, he prepares a South Indian vegetarian feast. That sounds delicious, and I'm making a personal connection to that. I told him I like spicy food. I do not. I don't know why I said such a stupid thing. It's a complete lie. I add a dollop of yogurt. Nothing doing. Each time it's the same. My taste buds shrivel up and die. I know exactly how that feels from personal connection, and my prior knowledge tells me I know how hot Indian food can be. I wonder, a question I might ask, is why you might lie while you're doing something like this, but I'm going to assume he was trying to be nice, or infer that he was trying to be nice to the sweet man by saying he likes spicy food. I'm right here now. Each time it's the same. My taste buds shrivel up and die. My skin goes beet red. My eyes well up with tears. My head feels like a house on fire. And my digestive tract starts to twist and groan in agony, like a boa constrictor that has swallowed a lawnmower. Wow, that is quite a specific simile. Okay? That I'm reading. A boa constrictor that has swallowed a lawnmower is going to be extremely uncomfortable. A boa constrictor is a snake. I'm going to use my prior knowledge to do that. Okay? I'm going to make inferences that this guy never told his friend that this was horrifying for him. but I am going to be able to draw a picture of this because I really thought about it. I can really taste the heat. I can really feel the sweat bead on my head. I can really smell the spicy food and see the blurred vision that I have through the tears, and I can touch the water that I just want to drink. So please pardon my insane. So I'm going to picture fire coming out of him, and his ears are going to also have the same problem. Fire. This is fire. Okay? And his eyes are just welled up and all red, and there's like tears falling from them. And his little mouth is sort of a frown, but there's also like sort of fire coming out of it. And his eyes are all sort of blurry and hot and spicy. And then if I go down to his belly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that there's an arrow here that comes out, and it's going to be a green snake. I'm awful at making a green snake. And here's his little tongue. And there's like a lawnmower in here. It looks kind of like a chair, I'm not going to lie. Here's the thing that you pull. Okay? That's my lawnmower. I can really tell how uncomfortable it is. All of us have had that experience where you're just eating something that's so hot and that you just can't take it. And I wonder why he didn't tell his guest or his host why he was so uncomfortable. Okay, so this section is where you get to practice. This is your practice time, okay? Your practice time here, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to push pause on the video once I finish talking. And you're going to go to your sheet, your Sidekick worksheet, and you are going to, at the bottom of the front side, draw a picture for this one and draw a picture for this passage. One is from a book called The Book Thief, and one is from a book called Divergent. You should have heard of at least one of those. So on the front side of your worksheet, you're going to find the two circles at the bottom, and you are going to read this excerpt and draw a picture, and then you're going to read this excerpt and draw a picture. Please push the stop or pause button on your YouTube video now so you can do that, and resume the video once you have finished the two drawings. Now it's going to be your turn to do the visualizing and a full text and really kind of work through all of these reading comprehension strategies. On the back side of the Sidekick worksheet you've been working on are the instructions for reading David Sedaris' Let It Snow. Honestly, it's a funny story, and I've always had kids really enjoy it, I promise. I'm going to start you by reading off with you the beginning of the story on the next slide. Okay? You're going to annotate your reading strategies in the margin of the story. That means on the actual paper. Okay? And on the paper of the story. And then you're going to do some work on the worksheet itself. Okay? You're going to end up turning in both the Sidekick worksheet and the annotated short story for Let It Snow, which is, like I said, a very funny story. So, please make sure that you have read the directions. While you're working, you need to annotate for the items that are listed on your worksheet. You're supposed to annotate for background knowledge, personal connections, questions, inferences, predictions, and then places where you can visualize what's happening. And it tells you exactly how many of each of those you need to do, and helpful guiding questions in case you have forgotten what those things are. So at this point, I need you to get out your Let It Snow story, which you should already have from your teacher, and get ready to read with me. So my story looks a little different than yours because I had to put it on this slideshow thing. But you have this story next to you, And you are going to read with me as we go through the first paragraph. It's called Let It Snow by David Sedaris, and we're going to read what is your first paragraph. So here we go. I'm going to model for you what you should be doing for the rest of the story. Winters were frustratingly mild in North Carolina, but the year I was in 5th grade, we got lucky. Now I'm already going, you know what? Winters are pretty mild in Virginia too, right? So I probably know a little bit about that, can make a connection. And I also know that there have been times that we've gotten really lucky and just had so much snow and we finally get snow days. So I'm going to continue reading. Snow fell, and for the first time in years, it accumulated. I may question myself and say, what does that word mean? And look it up. It means amounted to something, or accumulation of snow means it actually gained inches. School was canceled, and 2 days later, we got lucky again. There were 8 inches on the ground, and rather than melting, it froze. Now again, this happens in Virginia. This even happened last year and this year. And how excited we are when that happens, okay? And you get a snow day, and you get to play, and how fun that is. I can make that personal connection. And I also have the prior knowledge about living in a area near North Carolina. So, I'm back to reading now. On the 5th day of our vacation, my mother had a little breakdown. Our presence had disrupted the secret life she led while we were at school. And I might have a connection here because I always wondered, what did mom do? Or what did dad do? Or whoever stays home, if someone stays home, what they do. And if not, I wonder what they do when they go to work maybe. Okay, but I can see how a mom would have a breakdown if 5 kids, if a bunch of kids on 5 days of school are out, they're still stuck at home. So, she led while we were at school, and when she could no longer take it, she threw us out. And I'm going to go, what? ? Are you crazy? It wasn't a gentle request, but something closer to an eviction. And I know what an eviction means, and that means to get kicked out, basically, okay? And furthermore, I'm going to infer, because she says following that, get the hell out of my house, she said, that I'm going to infer that that mom is cranky and tired and maybe a little crazy, but who's to say, okay? So I'm going to leave you there. This is sort of what I want your story to look like. Maybe not as much, but it should have writing on it. That means annotated, and you'll turn in your story, okay? And make sure that you read carefully while you do this. I'm not going to go over the next section. You can do this for yourself. In the end, I need you to remember that you need to read and annotate the story. That means write on it the way I was. You have to pay attention to all the comprehension strategies. There's a lot to manage, so take your time. You need to complete the entire worksheet on both sides, and then you need to turn in both of those, both the annotated story and the sidekick worksheet. Your teacher's in the classroom if you need any help, and I hope you have a great time reading the story. I love it. Nope. Sorry, coming back.